Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do to achieve this look is I'm going to go ahead and take an eyelid primer from e.l.f. I'm actually going to use two different primers. I know that sounds a little crazy, but I will explain why I do it. The first one will be the e.l.f. eyelid primer, and I will be putting this over my entire eyelid. So I'm going to go ahead and pat that everywhere, like all over the place, on my eyelid, of course. And what I'll be using next will be the e.l.f. It's the liner, primer, and sealer, I do believe. Or sorry, eye primer, liner, and sealer. I'm just going to use like the stick end of it with a brush over here. So I'm going to grab a brush and just grab some of this product. And what I'm going to do with this bad boy is I'm going to go ahead and apply it all over my eyelid, like basically everywhere. And I like using this because whenever I use a concealer, just like a standard concealer on my eye, I'm very oily on my lids and it comes right off. So with this, I get the bonus of having a more opaque canvas to play with, and not so much the oily, creasy grossness that comes with having the oily lids like I do. I'm gonna let that dry for a moment, and while I'm letting that dry, let's see here, I can go ahead and do my contour. Now for the contour, I will be using the e.l.f. contour palette. I'm using the dark shade in this palette. Okay, so I went ahead and carved out my cheek area. I'm going to go along my jawline, of course, and then my forehead. I've already done one side of my forehead, so awesome. Okay, now it's time for some eyeshadow. I'm actually using 3 of my Urban Decay Vice palettes for this, and I'll go ahead and let you know what shades I'm using. From the Vice 3 here, I am actually using a shade in here called Downfall, which is like a matte medium warm brown. I'm also using a shade in here called Sonic, which is red. It's like a metallic red color. Now with the Urban Decay Vice 4, I am using 2 shades in this as well. So I am using the shade Flame right here, and the shade next to it is called Bitter. So I'm using Bitter right here in the crease as well. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Now, and I wish I had singles for all of these because that would be a little bit more convenient, but I kind of want to use my Vice palettes a lot more than I do. So I'm trying to push myself to maybe start a series using all the Vice palettes and just kind of, you know, mixing and matching in between them. But for the highlight color, what I'm using here is the shade Anonymous. And actually, I fibbed. There's one more eyeshadow that I am using, and that's in the Vice 3 palette. That shade is called Rain, and that's right here. So it's kind of like a metallic deep brown. Alright, so you guys know the colors. I'm going to go ahead and just say the colors so that way, yeah, I don't have to keep lifting up my palettes. The first color I'm going to use is going to be Downfall. So I'm going to grab some of that on a 217 brush. And this is going to be a kind of transition shade. So I'm going to put this right in the crease and all over my entire eyelid. I'm going to go ahead and grab the shade Bitter, which is that like bright kind of orangey color. I am so in love with this color. It's like a burnt orange. It's like almost, if burnt orange and Brick Red had a baby, this would be it. And it is beautiful. So what I'm going to do with this guy is actually put it in my crease. That's going to heat everything up. It blends so well with Downfall that it's kind of ridiculous, but in a very good way. Okay, so for the very next step, what I'm going to do is take a flat paddle brush. I will be using the e.l.f. Makeup Mist and Set. So I'm going to dampen my brush and dip it into the shade Flame from Vice 4. It's almost duochrome, so it's got like a peachy gold yellow kind of like orange sheen to it. Oh my goodness, this is probably like my favorite color in this palette by far. So I'm going to go ahead and pat that on my eyelid, stopping right before the crease. And we're going to let that dry. While that's drying, what I will be doing here is I'm going to take, this is an e.l.f. Mineral Eyeliner in Ash, which is kind of like a slate gray. I'm going to grab a little bit of this and apply it right underneath my lower lash line. I'm very gently patting it on because this is very, very pigmented. And we're just going to be smudging it, so I went ahead and applied it about halfway underneath my eye. I'm going to go ahead and take a brush to kind of blend that out with. So I'm using one from 6 Plus. It's like a little thin pencil brush. Here's where it's going to get even more fun. I'm going to take the same pencil. I'm going to dip it into Bitter, which is that crease shade that we used. And I'm going to pat it right on top of that gray. It looks amazing. Like, it's such a weird combination, I know. Like, the gray's cool and this color is really warm, but it just does something that's kind of neat. And I really like it, so what I'm going to go ahead and do next is I'm going to take the shade Sonic from the Urban Decay Vice 3 palette, which is a metallic shimmery red. This color is extremely pigmented, so I'm going to go pretty easy with it. In fact, I will be using a Zoeva brush. This is from the Rose Golden collection. It's the Luxe Soft Crease brush. So I'm going to grab just a little bit of that at a time because it's easy to get carried away with this color because of its pigmentation. And I'm just going to put it in the crease. Okay, so I went ahead and put that on. Now I'm going to take a highlight real fast to help tone down some of that red. So I will be using Anonymous here as a highlight shade, which is a matte, like nude shade, and it's just, with my skin tone, it's the perfect lightness for the look I'm going for. So I'm going to go ahead and pat that on. Rather heavy for right now because I will be blending it. And to blend it, I'm going to take just a fluffy brush and just soften that edge where the red meets that highlight. Now I'm going to go in with a Luxe Petite Crease brush from Zoeva, from the Rose Golden collection. I'm going to grab the shade Rain, which is that dark brown that's a little bit metallic. This is extremely pigmented, so I did tap it after getting some product on the brush. I'm only applying it to the outer crease. And that's just going to help build a little bit of depth. It's easy to overwhelm the entire look with this color, so be very careful. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is take a paddle brush. I'm going to grab a little bit more of the shade Bitter and apply that on the outer edge of the actual eyelid for a little bit more depth. And then I'm going to blend it. So I'm going to blend that outer crease and Bitter, just a pinch. And I'm still using that brush that has rain on it to kind of blend it into Bitter on the eyelid. Now I'm going to take another brush to kind of blend everything for the most part. So it looks definitely unique, which I really, really like. Now I'm going to do my eyeliner, and I generally do it off camera just because I am known to stab myself in the face. I mean, in my eyeball, and then it hurts real bad, and that's kind of embarrassing. Okay, so here's the lashes that I used, and I did trim them so that way they'd fit because they were kind of long. And the glue that I used was the Broadway Eyes Black Odor-Free, Latex-Free, Waterproof Glue. So I don't recommend this glue at all, but it's the only glue that I have. So it's going to have to work for a while. So anyways, that is what I used. Now I will be applying some mascara to my lower lash line. I already applied some to my upper lashes, but I will be using the e.l.f. Mineral Infused Mascara because it is my favorite. So yeah, as you guys can see, there's a little bit of lifting on these lashes. Yeah, that's the glue. It's not great, but I guess that's what you get for $2. Anywho, so I'm going to go ahead and let the lashes dry and try and fix these. And of course, I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and apply a highlight to my face. For that, I'll be using the contour palette yet again from e.l.f. Cosmetics, and I'm grabbing the very light shade in this. So grab some of that, and I will apply that right underneath my eye, on the very top of my cheekbone. I will be applying a little bit right underneath my contour shade too. And again, I will be blending all of this together. But for right now, I'm going to let that set for a moment. I will be adding one more highlight. I know it sounds crazy, but it's just a pinch. And this is the e.l.f. Baked Highlighter in Moonlight Pearl. Just to seal the deal a little bit more right there. I've already applied a highlight to my chin and my forehead. I might actually just use what's left on my brush to just kind of do my nose. I'm just going to pat the color on. I'm not going to be contouring my nose today, so. Okay, so I'm going to take a big fluffy brush and kind of blend all of this to kind of soften it. And I will be using a blush. The blush that I'm using tonight is going to be Hot Mama from the Balm, which is a very pretty color, perfect for spring. And I'm going to go ahead and apply that with an angled blush brush. Okay, so for the lips, what I'm going to go ahead and do is take the e.l.f. Hydrating Under Eye Primer. I know, it's crazy, but my lips are super, super dry. And this actually helps keep them moisturized all day. even when I'm using like a drying formula like Colourpop's Ultra Matte or Anastasia Beverly Hills, Lime Crime, you name it. So there's that. I will be using a lip liner from Colourpop. This is in the shade Skimpy. And I'm going to go ahead and apply that real quick. And for the actual lipstick, I will be using a MAC lipstick in the shade Hue. And I'm going to use a lip brush to apply that product. This is the finished look. If you guys enjoyed this tutorial, of course, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, comment, share, do your thing. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you guys in the next video.